Even when you've done the work, even when you've grown, even when things are going well, that voice can still come back, that inner critic. And when it does, it can feel like you're going backward, but you're not. You're growing. Welcome back to Creative Metaphysics. We're going to talk about how to maintain creative confidence, even when that inner critic returns, that voice that just tells you everything that you're doing wrong or you think you might be doing wrong. It's something that every creator needs to understand. Your inner critic may never fully disappear, but it can lose its power over you. See, as we grow, growth, becoming better, a better version of ourselves, expanding, it doesn't mean that that voice stops. What growth means is that you stop believing it. And that's really important because that voice, as we discussed before, that voice it came about by things in the past beliefs, maybe some past negative experiences. And that's where it grew from. But if we stop believing these things we used to believe in the past and we start creating new experiences that disprove those old beliefs, then we can gain control over that voice. It doesn't mean it stops, but we just gain control over it. We just got to remember that every time we expand, every time we grow, that inner critic's going to come back stronger because expansion means change. Growth means change, and change is dangerous because change might not be all that familiar. And when we step outside of familiarity, we step outside of our comfort zone. Our body, our mind registers danger. Anytime you step into something new, that voice may come back. When you grow your audience, or you try something different, or you show up in a bigger way, you take more risk, you step into a new version of yourself, the critic reacts. Sometimes it reacts violently. There was a point where I thought that I had moved past it. You see, I grew. I'm a big man now. I'm beyond that. That's in my past. I was creating consistently. Things were starting to work or were working. Then I stepped into something even bigger. And that voice came right back. Same doubt, same hesitation. And for a moment, I thought, did I lose progress? Did I go backwards? Did I backslide? But I didn't. I was just at a new level. Look at your own experience. Has that voice come back after you've made progress? Did it make you feel like you were starting over? You weren't starting over, you were stepping up. You see, most people think confidence means no fear, no doubt, no inner critic. But that's not real. Real confidence sounds like this: I hear the voice, but I still trust myself. Or I'm going to act anyway. There were moments for me where the voice was loud and I moved anyway. Not because I felt like I was ready, not because I felt confident, but because I decided to act. No matter if I had doubts, no matter if I was lacking confidence, I felt vulnerable, I had to act. Either you act or you don't act, one of the two. And I decided that I was going to act. And every time I did, something changed. I trusted myself more. Ask yourself, are you waiting to feel safe or confident before you act? Or are you willing to act and build confidence through movement? Because that's essentially the difference. When you step into a new version of yourself, old patterns react. The voice says, are you sure? Or this feels a little risky, or we've never done this before. It's not trying to stop you. It's reacting to change. It's trying to warn you. It's trying to protect you. But we have to learn to see it clearly. I had that moment when I stopped taking it personally. The voice showed up, and instead of thinking something was wrong, I saw it for what it really was. It was a reaction to growth. It was a protection mechanism. It was just doing its job. And that changed how I responded. I didn't shrink back. I moved forward. What if this moment isn't regression? What if it's expansion? If you're in that space right now, you're on the edge, that voice is really talking to you, and it keeps coming back, and it's louder, stronger. Even after you made progress, you're feeling that doubt, that fear, that shame. This is exactly why I created the Creator's First Shift. It helps you understand why these patterns keep showing up, what's actually happening underneath them, and how to reframe them so they stop controlling you. So you don't feel like you're going backward every time that voice comes back. You'll find the link for that digital download in the description. Costs about the same as a cup of coffee, but the shift that it creates in your confidence, that's what keeps you moving forward. And one thing we need to understand about confidence comes from identity. Confidence is not based on how you feel, it's based on who you decide that you are. When the voice shows up, you anchor into your identity. You say, I know who I am. I know what I'm here to do. I trust myself. And that's what stabilizes you. Ask yourself, what identity are you choosing to stand in? Or are you letting your emotions decide that for you? When you hear that voice, that inner critic, you have to see it clearly. This is not truth. This is an old pattern. This is not danger. This is growth. And that changes everything, because once you see it clearly, it loses all of its power. It's kind of like a scary movie or a haunted house. You just figure this ghost, this monster is really scary. It's coming at you. But once you see the strings or the shadow in the light of the person that's controlling it, and you realize that it's not real, it kind of loses all its power. It's not really all that dangerous anymore. I mean, it still might look scary, but you see it for what it really is. All right, so here's the final step. You still move, even when the voice is there, even when it feels uncomfortable, because action is what builds stability. Ask yourself, what is one step I can take right now without waiting for this feeling to go away? And then take that step. That's how confidence grows. Remember this, your inner critic coming back doesn't mean that you're failing or you're going backwards or you're regressing. It means actually that you're expanding. You don't need it to disappear to move forward. You just need to stop believing it. Stay anchored, keep moving, and over time, the voice becomes background music. And that's confidence. That's the shift.